Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, and thank you for clicking on the video. Yep, the Cedo is by far the best weapon to use with Qorvex. Here's why. Yep. To copy this build, you're going to need a couple Archon shards first. We've got 3 blue energies and 1 ability strength red. The reason for that is because obviously we need Terrify to have a full 100% strip, and you need to have at least 170 strength. You'll notice too that overextended is not max. That is so that we can get the 170 and not lose any more strength. I've actually already talked about this build. I've actually refined it a little bit. I've uploaded quite a few videos within just today, the last 24 hours. If you've been able to keep up, congrats to you, man. I'm really enjoying this update. I'm loving making this content. So if you're new here and you like this content, you see my other videos, make sure you subscribe and like the video, whatever. Okay, so with the build, it's 5 Forma now. I actually got a couple comments talking about adaptation. I appreciate you guys bringing that up because the way I explained the third ability was kind of not exactly correct. This gives you status immunity, not status resistance. It doesn't give you status damage resistance. So that's what adaptation does. So when you pair the two, you're just ridiculously tanky. He already has so much armor thanks to his base amount, but we also have umbral fiber, so the 2 umbral mods are going to increase each other. You'll notice too that I don't have any umbral formas. If you do end up using some, it'll cut the cost down quite a bit, so keep that in mind. You don't need to keep duration up high at all. The only 2 skills, at least in this build, that use duration is his 1 and his 2, which I subsume Terrify over. So just to recap his abilities real quick, his 1 is just basically the soft CC crowd control. You actually have a very unique interaction between his 4 and his 1, like you saw at the beginning. When you shoot his 1 with his 4 or his original 2, the containment wall, it causes this to get empowered duration, which increases the frequency of the pulses. However, with the 4, if you apply the 4 to the 1, it also spreads the 4th ability's unique trait to enemies more rapidly in the AoE. Rather than you having to aim at each individual one, you can just aim your beam at the pillar, and anything within the pillar's radius will be affected by that unique interaction with the 4. So we're using the Cedo, we're applying all of these different types of statuses in one go, and causing the unique trait to increase the damage thanks to his 4, kind of like how Galvanized Savvy works, where you increase your damage per status. It's kind of the same thing with this ability. It's very, very strong, and when you throw an armor strip into the mix, you just completely nuke the enemies. Now for arcanes, I have Arcane Blessing in here. We're going for, a good amount of tankiness, as you see, physique and adaptation, and then you pair it with his 3. We're going to have a little over 2,000 HP. I know he's not maxed here, but when he's maxed, he actually has about 400 energy and a little over 2,000 HP. So you've got 2,000 HP and 2,000 armor. He's very, very tanky. As far as the next arcane though, you can put whatever you want in here. Now I'm using the Cedo. I actually thought about maybe using Arcane Tempo or even Energize, but I know a lot of people don't have Energize yet. I don't want to make it seem like this is a forced arcane to use. You really don't need it. Arcane Avenger, maybe? It really depends on what you want to do. You don't even have to use Arcane Blessing if you don't, but like I said, when you have all this tankiness and DR, giving yourself more health is going to give you more effective health points, EHP. Now his kit is really reliant on ability casting, so make sure your efficiency is up. We've got fleeting expertise. That negative duration is not as bad as you might think. His skills really don't need that much duration. Only his 1 and technically Terrify use duration. Everything else does not. So you can actually nuke that pretty hard and still have about 24 seconds for his 1. It's very easy to cast. You can even keep 2 up at a time. So like I said, lowering the duration, not a big deal. So let's talk about the Cedo real quick. The Cedo is a very, very good shotgun. I think a lot of people know that. Cool thing about this thing is it's got the alt fire that is basically just a heat-seeking projectile bounce ricocheting disc that applies guaranteed status. You're going to apply like 5 or 7 5 to 7 different types of statuses to the enemies. So it really kind of replaces the need to use Epitaph or Gamma Core or some of the other favorite primers, maybe even New Core. Cool thing too about Qorvex is his passive. He gives any weapon he wields 3 punch through. So you're going to be getting 3 punch through for free on a shotgun with an alt fire that travels around the room. Now you'll notice too, I do have a Riven. You don't need one. This one I actually think is really, really good, specifically the projectile speed and multi-shot. If you don't have a Riven, I recommend a Bane mod. Cool thing about the Cedo is the faster the projectile speed, the quicker you'll be able to alt fire again. You'll notice how fast it travels around the room. I can constantly just spam it, keeping the primer up at all times. Now, if I take the Riven out and galvanize acceleration, you'll see a huge difference in its travel speed and travel time. Now the rest of the build is not anything new. The Cedo's been out for a long time. The only difference from this build to some of the very old ones is Shotgun Vendetta. This is a relatively recent arcane. It was added with the Echoes of Duviri, I believe. It's going to give me even more multi-shot and more reload speed. The multi-shot is really nice because the alt fire for the Cedo actually will gain additional discs based on how much multi-shot you have. And when you have a ton of multi-shot on a shotgun, you can't go wrong. You also have, again, Qorvex's passive, which is going to give you 3 punch through. So this is just a very, very strong primary choice that's not only a strong weapon in and of itself, but also as a primer, which is what you absolutely need to make his 4th ability work. The enemies have to have statuses on them in order for the 4th to really do any damage. You'll notice too that his 4th does so much damage even without an armor strip. We'll go over here, apply the 1, prime them up, and hit my 4, and you'll see just how fast they die even without an armor strip. Pretty decent amount of damage. And keep in mind, these are 190 heavy gunners, corrupted steel path heavy gunners. Very, very strong. As far as companion, just use Nautilus. Everything is all about grouping nowadays anyway. He's got that unique Cordon ability, and when you pair it with Manifold Bond, you'll be able to constantly group enemies up because obviously we're applying a ton of statuses. When we kill them, it's going to help reduce the cooldown for Cordon. So more grouping, more killing, more statuses, etc., etc. The cycle goes on. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I've been cranking out a lot of content over the last 24 hours thanks to the new update. So if you're new here and you've watched to the end and you're not subscribed, consider doing so. Leave a like. Tell me what you think about the build in the comments. I'm always looking to improve my content. I want to make sure you guys actually like what you're watching because I have fun reading those comments and it makes me want to make more content for you guys. So again, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.